let's see. I can see on there. Alright, we are live. Okay. Happy Halloween. That's why we're wearing this. Hey folks, I'm Ben Traver.
And I'm Rachel Green.
Oh, sorry. Oh, she's Rachel Green. I'm Dead Gunther. God, I love you, Rachel, even though I'm dead. Oh, God. I'm Ben Traver. After seeing London Fields, I sure wish I was hit by a car and burned to death after seeing this piece of shit. God, it is hard to breathe in this fucking thing.
Just do the whole review like that. You look creepy.
No, I fucking... when I did the thing announcing the Wizard World convention wearing this, it was actually really hard to get all that information out. And it was only like 30 seconds. I was legitimately having trouble breathing. Oh my God. Get this fucking thing off. Fuck. Oh, God. Whew. It was the only way, burning alive was the only way for poor Ben Traver to get that thing off of his head.
You're all red.
And even, I know. Oh, okay. So, anyway, oh, God.
See you guys.
Yeah, so, hey, how's it going? I'm not seeing the chat pop up on here, but there's 51 people in there. Maybe the mask has something to do with it, because this happened when Sarah and I were reviewing Halloween. I started out with the mask, and I made sure to check that the chat would be turned on this particular time, as I have been ever since the chat didn't pop up when she and I did our review of Halloween the other day, and it's not popping up on here either, but... People are watching, so at least we know.
Hopefully, because
at least we know we're live.
It was weird before, so.
So today we went to go see London Fields, and it was the best use of a day since we drove to Peoria to go see Gotti.
Yeah, we devoted the whole day to this.
Man, all right. So London Fields is not playing in Springfield, but it's playing in Decatur, Illinois. I don't know why it's playing in Decatur and not here. So if you haven't heard of this movie, which odds are that is certainly the fucking case, you might know a little bit of backstory on it at least. I wouldn't be surprised if you never saw a trailer, because I never saw a trailer for this fucking thing. But, so the backstory on this is is a bit more fascinating than the actual movie in and of itself. This movie was made 4 years ago, and it's a film noir drama. And I've seen some sites trying to pass it off like a comedy, and I don't think that's the fucking case.
I think the book is a dark comedy.
The movie feels like, let's try to pass some of this off as a dark comedy to try to save face.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like there's not much in this movie that feels like it's genuinely supposed to be any sort of a fucking comedy.
Oh, no.
The backstory, there has been a lot of stuff keeping this from hitting screens, and I'm very surprised it hit as many theaters as it did. The director of this movie has been involved with lawsuits involving the production company because of disputes involving editing choices and whether or not he or certain people could have final cut. There's lawsuits involving some of the actors in it in regards to their contracts and a lot not wanting to actually promote the film.
I don't think anyone did.
There's countersuits that some actors have filed against it, and then this thing actually did go out to 600 plus theaters, like it is technically a wide release, and set a record over the weekend for second lowest opening for a wide release.
In a decade, I think.
Second lowest, I think, of all time, because I think it made $100,000 at the box office for a wide release. The thing that's number one, I believe, is Proud American from 2008, and this is the lowest, like, screening for something since then.
It made $162,000, I think.
Right.
Opening weekend, which is pretty bad.
It's a pretty fucking bad movie. This movie makes Gotti look competent.
Yeah, so now you kind of understand my confusion a little bit more in Gotti.
No, I did when we saw it too. Like,
yeah, but now you've experienced it.
Oh well, I mean, this isn't the first time I've been confused in a movie. Like, it's this. So this is based on a book, and it's going to be very, very hard for me to talk about what the fuck this movie's about because I don't fucking know. This is going to be a video that is probably just going to be us just describing random things that happen in this movie. Because that's really what this movie comes across as. Is just a series of a bunch of random shit that just keeps happening throughout the goddamn thing. And as I was watching it, to compare it to Gotti, yeah, with Gotti, because I was familiar enough with the story, I knew what was going on in the movie, despite how much of a fucking mess it was. I was like, I know what's happening only because I know a lot of stuff going into it. Whereas the case with this, I'm sure if you have read the book it's based on, which I hear is actually a pretty good book, and even watching the movie, I could see how it probably would work as such. I'm sure if you're familiar with the book and you've read it and you've liked it, yeah, you probably know what everything fucking means in this movie.
Yeah, luckily we were the only ones in the theater.
Because we're the only ones in the theater at the only time of day it was showing.
Yeah, and so we were able to at least talk during it, and at one of the creepiest theaters I've been to in a long time.
This theater looked like the theater I saw Dance and It's On in. It was a really purgatory looking movie theater, and
yeah.
we were the only ones in there, and we were the only fucking ones in there. And Gino has seen this movie, and he was like, yeah, I went to go see it because it was the only thing MoviePass was offering last week, along with Indivisible. So, with my fucking track record with MoviePass, of course I get there, and it's like, no screenings available today. Oh my god. Cookie Monster needs to do a song about how MoviePass is a sometimes app. God.
After the movie was over, I did look it up just to see what was going on in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did look at what the book was about, kind of skimmed a little bit on the Wikipedia page and also a little bit on the film itself. And so I know a little bit more about it.
What the movie is, just to sum it up quickly, the setup of the film, it's Billy Bob Thornton is a novelist who goes to this, who is staying at this apartment building in London, and above him is this femme fatale who's Amber Heard as a character named Nicholas Six, and he is writing a book about all of this, and it's a film noir. It's here. Okay, so that is the gist of the setup, but what you're experiencing when you see this movie is nothing like that. What you're experiencing with this movie is like if you watched Body Heat, ate a Nightmare King, smoked a carton of cigarettes and downed a 6-pack of Bodingtons, and went straight to bed. This is the fucking nightmare fever dream you would have.
Yeah, it was... I don't even know where to begin.
There is nowhere to begin!
Yeah, it starts out and, I get confused pretty easily during movies, so
You were asking me questions, and I was like, I promise you, if you don't know it, I don't know it with this film.
Yeah, so I was like, do you know what's going on, or was it just me?
No!
You were like, no, I have no idea. Things would just happen in this, and nothing was explained, and...
No characters are explained, no plot setups are, it is random things happening. Billy Bob Thornton is, for all intents and purposes, the lead of this film, but feels like he's not in the movie.
Yeah.
Even when he's there, even when he's in scenes, it's like, it doesn't feel like he's a part of this film.
I guess he is supposed to be kind of like an observer, but still, you can tell he knew pretty quickly this movie was gonna be a stinker.
He's checked out of this fucking movie.
And yeah, the way he talks, it's like, we were talking on the way home about it. I was like, I guess some film noirs are kind of like, the way they talk is kind of similar.
Oh, sure, with the narration, and then she walked in, things like that. I knew she was trouble, smoking cigarettes through the movie.
And he's just coasting through this and just not caring at all.
With a soundtrack through the whole thing that's loud and just that typical like doom 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 throughout the whole fucking thing. Fuck this movie so hard. I hated this movie.
My least favorite thing about it was Jim Sturgis.
Okay, we'll get to this, and that deserves its own whole fucking thing with Jim Sturgis.
I didn't even know that was him for.
I did.
For the first 10 minutes, I was like, you mentioned, this Jim Sturgis.
This movie.
Fuck, really?
God, yeah, this movie feels like this could segue into Jim Sturgis. This movie feels like half of its characters should be animated characters.
Yeah,
it feels like Jim Sturgis should be a smelly, droopy animated dog.
He with brain damage.
This movie is if you made Cool World and took out the cool and the world, and you're left with this piece of shit. So
I don't care about anyone in this. They're like everything that's supposed to be like emotional or dramatic, you're like, I don't care.
I can only describe this movie as just things that happen in it. So there's a lot of revolving characters in this, and they all revolve around Amber Heard's character. So there's Theo James, who is this boring suburban dad whose kid is a juvenile delinquent but looks like a little person playing a child who's chain smoking and running around in a lizard costume and beating up Theo James and biting his ankles.
And then gets taken away by a couple of doctors.
And so then
I don't even know where to...
Jim Sturgis is this... I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to do in this. He is actually in this movie a lot. He's in this movie a lot, and it is one of the most embarrassing performances I've seen in a long time.
His default face the entire time is like
he has
fake teeth, and it's so unpleasant to look at.
Like,
how could he think this was a good way to play this character? And
any director worth a salt would have told him to tone it the fuck down.
Yeah,
like it's wild what he's doing in this film.
He said it was like Mac from It's Sunny in Philadelphia trying to do an impression of like a Cockney like bar.
Yeah, because Jim Sturgis in this movie is like this total like brown yellow teeth, always showing, greasy hair, slicked back
his
beard.
Fingernails are super dirty.
Like this. And yeah, it's like if someone was trying to do a stereotype of what they think a character in a Guy Ritchie movie might act, crossed with like Robert De Niro in the loosest of fucking terms. So he's going around this whole movie, his mouth gaping open with his teeth showing the whole time.
It's embarrassing.
You show you pretty little thing right there.
What
is he doing?
Every single time, and I think he's English, or
he's from London.
Okay, like it's like he should know that this stereotype, not to do it like this.
If there is an equivalent of playing the drunken, messed up teeth, talking like this. If there is like a going full retard equivalent of that, it is this performance.
Yeah,
it's insane.
He goes full retard. He acts like I don't even understand like what he was thinking. It was so gross to look at him, and he's a good-looking guy. I loved him in a lot of other things.
Across the universe,
and I used to think he's cute. He's like this Paul McCartney-looking feller.
Sure.
And a feller, I don't know. Anyways.
Anyway, you just keep talking there.
Stop it, I don't want to see that. And every single time him and Amber Heard would have like a thing going on, anything where they start making out, I'm like, ew.
There is a sex scene between the two of them in which she is dressed up like a patrolman and shoves a nightstick up his ass. Random shit happens in this movie. Suddenly, he kisses her and goes outside and has a dance number to Dire Straits.
Yeah.
Dire Straits is Money for Nothing. This is the only scene that's like this. And it happens
it came out of nowhere.
Halfway into the movie. And then suddenly, the movie is about a darts competition.
Yeah.
Suddenly.
It feels like a Hunger Games, too. Like, it's like this weird dystopian. And I think they were kind of going for that. But the way they did it, it's like out of a darts competition, but I know that's in the book,
Oh, I'm sure most of this is, and I'm sure it makes more sense in the book.
Yeah, but it's just like, man, this is weird.
There's a darts competition that's for 20 minutes the movie becomes like Kingpin, but about darts, in which Jim Sturgis, his darts enemy is Johnny Depp,
who's also like
his
like,
who he owes money to, and his Johnny Depp is in this as like this, if you cross Scarface with Elton John, and that's Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp is doing like a fake British accent in this, but is doing it circles around Jim Sturgis,
he's not even English.
Actually is from London, and Johnny Depp is the only one who comes out of this movie pretty much unscathed, because he's just being Johnny Depp in this film, and he's only in it for a few scenes, but he's not really doing anything much different than you've seen him do in other movies, but he's the only one who comes out of this with his dignity intact.
He's the least, he's not really in it, so I mean, maybe that's why. He's in it like a fair amount. I thought when I looked it up to see how much he was in it, they said a cameo. So he was in it more than a cameo.
It's an extended cameo.
He brings the most life into this movie. I know he's kind of a shitbag, but it's like he's the only one that brought the movie to life a little bit.
He was
as much as you could with this piece of shit garbage.
As much as you could, and when he was on screen, I was like, "Holy shit! I wish he was playing the Jim Sturgis part." Even if he's just doing what you've seen him do in dozens of other movies, at least fine. Like that's at least a formula that's worked sometimes before. Whatever the fuck Jim Sturgis was doing in this, there should have been somebody there to give this guy direction, because it's ridiculous how he plays this part. And this darts competition that again comes out of nowhere and uses Hiroshima symbolism throughout it, suddenly it'll just cut to a lesson about the Enola Gay, and like it's like when Sarah and I went to go see The Dinner, a movie about this wealthy family who their son killed somebody, and then randomly halfway through we get a lesson about Gettysburg. So that
I forgot about
like that happens in this during a darts competition where it's kind of like Kingpin, but characters are dressed up like it's the fucking Hunger Games for like 20 minutes of this movie. This movie makes no sense. And then like you said, part of the time it seems like it's happening in the future.
I think it's kind of going for that, because when I looked it up, it said 1999.
Bullshit.
Is when this is supposed to take place, but they're using like smartphones, kind of.
There's a hologram.
There's like a hologram phone, and I get what they're trying to do, I guess. And
you do? Could you explain it to me?
They're trying to make it seem like a whole different world, I guess. But
yeah, because
and maybe that's how the book was too.
Because times throughout this movie, it kept looking like something apocalyptic was going to happen.
I think that's what it says in the book.
Right.
So like it's supposed to be until I don't know. So Amber Heard is psychic.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. She has premonitions.
Yeah, so, and I think...
Random.
They don't really make it clear at all through this movie about what exactly her abilities are, or, like, they don't make anything clear. Let me just say that. Everything in this doesn't make any sense. They don't explain anything, and I'm not saying dumb it down for me, but there's really no way... Anyways.
No, this movie feels like you had a film, like a weird film noir, and then you just dropped it on the fucking floor. And I think we said the same thing about Gotti. It's like you took a movie and dropped it on the floor and just decided to reassemble it with Scotch tape.
It's still good.
And try to pass it off and hope your parents don't notice.
Yeah, it was... So she has these abilities, and she knows she's going to be murdered or killed somehow. And so our suspects are... I don't even remember the name. I know Keith was Jim's...
Yeah, Keith Talent was the character's
name. And the married guy.
Theo James.
And
Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton is kind of like... I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to explain.
Because, again, like I said, you just need to just describe random things that happen in this movie. So, it appears like it's the future. It appears as if, like, every now and then it'll sort of cut to these exterior shots where stuff is just on fire. And I kept thinking, like, so here's the thing about this movie. I haven't felt this way about a movie since, here's what I could closely compare this movie to, and it's fucking Southland Tales.
Oh, yeah.
If Southland Tales was trying to do this, like, 40s film noir thing, because like that Southland Tales, I don't know what the fuck is going on in this damn thing, but I'm kind of curious to see where it's leading.
Yeah.
And with this, both movies have a random musical number halfway through it. Both movies have a feeling where it's like, I think this might sort of turn kind of apocalyptic towards the end of it. And I have no idea what kind of world or universe it's supposed to be taking place in. Both movies are a complete goddamn fucking mess, but sort of a fascinating mess, because as frustrated as I was while watching this movie, and dear God was I fucking frustrated, like, this movie is way worse than Gotti. Way worse.
Yeah.
It is way worse of a mess than Gotti was.
I said this during the movie. I was like, well, with Gotti, at least, like, I enjoy seeing John Travolta. With this, it's unpleasant to look at. It's ugly. Jim Sturgis is uncomfortably on the screen for too long. And Theo, what's his name?
Theo James.
He's just a piece of wood.
He's there.
He's there. I know. I'm like, he's just a plank of wood.
He's fucking there, and
there's no character there, and Billy Bob Thornton's just like, and then I saw her walk in, and I just knew she was trouble. And it's just like, you can tell he doesn't really want to be there. And then also, Jake, what's his name?
Jason Isaacs.
Jason
Oh yeah, Jason Isaacs is in this.
As the devil.
Oh yeah, we forgot about Devil Orgy. Yeah, Devil Orgy happens in this.
I'm guessing there's some symbolism. I just didn't catch on because for one...
Oh yeah, sure, there's things about the black hole, there's things about World War II, dropping the bomb, kids in lizard costumes, a dart contest. The movie has everything. See, this is what I mean. I was kind of fascinated by what I was watching, because I didn't know where anything was going to go or where this shit was going to lead, because I didn't know where we were starting from. This movie's like, if you go out on an all-night bender and you wake up on a fucking train, you don't know where you started out from, and you sure as shit don't know where the fuck you're going. And you wake up
next... That's a good way to
put it. Yeah, and so that really is this fucking movie. And Amber Heard, who is this, again, like this 1940s era femme fatale, and I wasn't really buying it.
I was saying that, and I felt bad. She's a very beautiful, sexy woman.
She is, very much so.
She's not, like that intimidating, threatening kind of femme fatale.
That larger-than-life sort of, like if you had Charlize Theron or Angelina Jolie playing a part like this, or, like Sharon Stone back in the day, or Kathleen Turner.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, no, she's gorgeous. I want to say that. Like, she's beautiful and stunning, but I just couldn't buy her as a femme fatale.
She doesn't have... Yeah, it wasn't that much larger than life over, Billy Bob Thornton and other people she was acting opposite of. And, I mean, she had the look in her eyes down for a lot of it, I thought. But other parts where she's supposed to be playing really innocent and naive with Theo James, it felt just like a person trying to really pretend.
I'm a virgin.
Yeah. And really not doing it, like, convincingly. So, like, it felt like someone just sort of doing an act. Like, I couldn't buy that anyone would buy this act that she was putting on in certain scenes. Especially since, like, if we're talking, like, a femme fatale type role, I saw Blake Lively do it 1,000,000 times better in A Simple Favor that came out not too long ago.
She probably just didn't have much to work with. I'm sure the script was pretty bad.
It has like 30 executive producers attached to it.
And working with Jim Sturgis looking like that must have been real. Stop it. I've been looking at it too much. It's a 2-hour movie.
What are you doing?
Stop it.
That is, I'm not exaggerating, by the way.
He's not. And that's like, he's in it for at least more than half of it. And that's just him doing that. And it's close up, too.
It is. right fucking there. It is
like,
unpleasant, unappealing, and not in a good way. In a way that's like, this is a fucking movie I'm watching. Like, if it were a documentary, that'd be one thing. I'd be like, well, okay. But no, in this, when you have a couple of characters trying to act relatively straight in the film, and there's him standing in between them, just, oh, what's going on over here?
Stop getting so close to me.
See, exactly. How you doing? It is Halloween, and so it was probably the scariest thing we could see it on the big screen. The funniest part of the movie wasn't even the movie. It was when I broke wind halfway through.
Oh, I didn't think you were gonna say that. I was like, what's that smell?
Oh, damn it. Oh.
I was like, did you
And I
fart?
tried to be silent.
That's the worst kind.
I know. I forgot that we went to the Wharf restaurant right there in Decatur beforehand. I had a barbecue burger, so I'm like, all right, just silent and everything. And you're like, what the fuck is that? And oh, damn it, we're in an empty theater. I can't blame anyone but myself.
Way to make this
Curses!
You made this experience way more disgusting.
Maybe it's in smell-o-vision. You're just smelling Jim Sturgis' teeth.
I know, you get really close and his teeth are gross. You know his breath smells.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care if you're like a femme fatale. It's like, I have standards. Like, I'm not, like, if I'm trying to seduce someone to get what I want, like.
Oh, and he's married to Cara Delevingne in it.
Barely.
She's in the movie for 2 scenes. God damn it. Oh, this movie was bad. This was so fucking bad. I mean, this movie made Gotti look like the Godfather.
Gotti was a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. This is shockingly bad. This is... but it's so bad in such a way that like you could talk about it for so fucking long.
Yeah.
There are several things you could just talk about that just went fucking wrong with this film.
Yeah.
Which makes it worth driving 45 minutes to go see it and back.
You could tell also in the movie because the director has done a lot of Katy Perry music videos and other music videos, I believe. And you can tell, because there's a lot of,
He was filming, Amber Heard like she was Katy Perry.
Yeah, like...
Ben Tramer hair.
I know, you got it all over me, too.
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
They'll just do a lot of close... I mean, I know that's, I guess she's supposed to be, sexual, and you're supposed to feel... I don't know. But they do zoom up a lot on her chest and...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Billy Bob Thornton goes into her, apartment early on in the movie, and she's just standing there cooking with just an unbuttoned shirt on and nothing else. It's like, it was seriously like that scene from The Naked Gun where Priscilla Presley's in his kitchen cooking and going, I'm boiling a roast. How hot and wet would you like it? Very hot and awfully wet.
Don't you want me to do that?
Yes.
That sounds uncomfortable. I feel like I'd burn myself on accident. Don't you want to see cooking? Ow!
Make love to me in my burns.
My 30-degree burns are sexy.
Are you okay? Oh my god.
All right. We should take you to the hospital.
Yeah, we'll take you to the hospital. At the end, I'm gonna take the roast with me, though. I mean, you did work very hard on it. Fuck this movie, seriously.
Yeah.
I hated this movie. It was
pretty bad.
Yeah, Gotti's not gonna make it. I said this in the review for that. Even when we reviewed Gotti, there were 10 movies I saw this year that were worse than Gotti. This movie, I don't know. This one's probably gonna end up on my bottom 10. This was a terrible movie to sit through.
Was it? So which one do you think is worse between this one and Deadly Crime, Dangerous
Dark Crimes? This.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
this
other one that we saw.
Dark Crimes was more boring.
Billion Boys.
Oh, Billionaire Boys
Yeah.
Club. If we're talking, this one was at least fascinatingly bad to sit through. But if we're talking purely in terms of execution, yeah, Dark Crimes was more boring. But I don't know if I think this was a bigger mess, and they're both messes. But this one I think was just a bigger. Absolute too many cooks in the kitchen clusterfuck.
Yeah, it was the most unpleasant to look at.
Yeah.
I was bored, but not as bored in this as I was with Dark Crimes and Billionaire Boys
Billionaire
Club.
Boys
Because
Club.
that was like, okay, let's get rid of like the most interesting guy halfway through, like in
Billionaire Boys
why,
Club,
Why can't I
yeah.
say that? Billionaire Boys Club. But this is like, I don't want to look at it, but I can't look away.
Yeah, Billionaire
It's like
Boys
crushing a spider and you have to look at it to make sure it's dead.
Nice. Billionaire Boys Club and Dark Crimes were really bad, but they were forgettable. This movie's really bad. It's not forgettable. It's not. I'm gonna remember I saw this movie. I'm gonna remember the experience.
I'm gonna remember
of
you
sitting...
sent me to this.
Yeah, I never forget. Yeah,
Hey,
I
can
am.
you take out the garbage.
I am.
Me see that piece of shit.
I am absolutely going to remember Jim Sturgis getting sodomized with a nightstick and going outside and dancing to "Money for Nothing" by Dire Straits. Like it's been well over 10. It's been 11 years, I think, or whenever it came out, that I saw Southland Tales, and I haven't forgotten that shit. And
Yeah.
10 years from now, I'm not gonna forget that I sat through London Fields.
Yeah.
This was, oh man, yeah. Ha. I'm really glad we made this trip.
Yeah.
So, okay, tomorrow is, I don't know, is there anything else about the
No,
movie?
I think we covered about everything, maybe.
I think we did, but I know we're gonna drive away, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh shit, we should have talked about that scene."
Oh.
But I'm hard pressed to think of what it could fucking be.
What happens in this, so.
I know. So all right. Well, tomorrow is I think Sarah and I are gonna be at the Nutcracker, and also Bohemian Rhapsody comes out, and the new Tyler Perry movie, Nobody's Fool, also comes out. So all right, happy Halloween, everyone. I'm really sorry that the chat doesn't appear to be working. So unless
Hopefully it recorded, because I don't want to...
No, it recorded. Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely recording. But yeah, I turned the chat. I made sure to turn the chat on beforehand, unless it's just not showing in our window. But all right, everyone. Thanks
Happy
a bunch for
Halloween.
watching. Happy Halloween. Take care.